Hi there, I hope you're all doing well. It is currently 11 in the morning for me right now, and I've gotten about 500 words done this morning. I've only worked for like maybe just under an hour, so it was pretty good going actually. But yeah, my plan for this week is it's Tuesday now. I usually put up my video on Sunday, so I think I'm going to film today, Wednesday and Thursday as this writing vlog and just kind of, yeah, bring you along for what progress I make this week. I've been thinking about doing a writing vlog since I made this channel, but when I made this channel I was like quite early on in the first drafts of the book that I'm writing just now, and it was the furthest I'd managed to get into a first draft of any book that I've tried to write. I had one idea about a year ago now, just over a year ago, that I started writing for maybe about 6 months and gave up when I realised that I was trying to bite off more than I could chew. I was going too hard, too fast, the plot was too complex, there was too many characters, and I was like, I think maybe for the first time I'm writing a book I should maybe take it back a bit. And I went back to an idea I had before, this big idea of a kind of more cozy romance fantasy. My kind of concept for it was thinking about like stories like Lord of the Rings, what was happening in the Shire during all the adventure that the characters we follow have, like what was happening to the just like everyday people and what were their lives like. Yeah, I pretty much read Legends and Lattes and realised I loved that idea of like high fantasy, low stakes, but I wanted more romance. I love reading romance, so that's what I'm currently writing now. Sorry if this clip is all over the place because I haven't planned what I'm going to say. Basically, when I first made my channel, I considered doing some writing vlogs and talking about what I'm writing more, but it was so early on and I'd already given up on one idea, so I didn't want to kind of jinx it and put it out, the idea that I was writing this book out into the world, like wider than just talking to my friends and family about it, even though it's probably just my friends and family who are watching this anyway. But you know what I mean, I didn't want to like put it like so concretely out there in fear that it would jinx it or I'd fail and everything. But I finished the first draft just before Christmas. It's a mess. It is more like a nothing draft because there's like massive bits of plot that are missing, and if anyone else read it I would be mortified. It is for my eyes only. But that's kind of like when I was in uni, that was how I wrote anyway. I would always just like write rubbish just to get something down on the page because I'm much better at being focused and being able to work on something if there's already things there that just need fixed and needed added to. But like as long as the essence of something is there, I like work so much better on it. So where we're at right now, what's the date today? I think it's maybe the 15th of January today, and last week I got my arse into gear after Christmas and started on the second draft again, and last week went so great. I focused on the first chapter. I just went slow last week, eased back into it, and I only worked on it for a few days, but I finished the first chapter in my second draft and it's like nowhere perfect, like it's still just the second draft. I already am writing today and I'm like, I need to go back and change that in the first chapter, that needs to be blah blah blah. I'm not going to though, I'm leaving it as it is just now until everything is done in the second draft, and then I can really go back into it with fresh eyes. But I was happy enough with it that I let my husband read it for the first time. He read a bit of the book I was working on before that I gave up on, but because I gave up on it for this one, I was like, you're not reading any of it until I've got a whole first draft complete, and then I'll maybe start letting you into it. But I was happy with this first chapter, so I let him read it, and I sent it to a few other people. I've not even done it like for feedback or anything. It's like I feel like at this stage, because it's the second draft, and I'm not looking for like a lot of criticism or feedback so far, because I'm feeling quite like tender over it all and vulnerable. I think I just need to do the action of sending it to people I trust. If they want to read it, they can read it. If they don't, that's fine. But just knowing that like I'm letting people see into what I'm working in right now, try and make myself feel a bit more confident about doing that. And then maybe once I've got past that fear of sending it to people, then I'll be ready for people to tear it apart and tell me what's wrong with it and think about things I need to fix and stuff. But for now, like, that's the big enough step for me, is just like handing it to people and being like, this is a piece of me, please be kind. Yeah, I don't know how much progress I'm going to make this week. When I was writing my first draft, it was quite easy to make goals for the day, because I was like, well, I'll write 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2,000 words a day. And that let me finish the first draft within like, I think it was like 2 months, 2.5 months. I got up to 80,000 words by doing that, which was really good. But for the second draft, because I already have so many words down, although I'm kind of writing the story I knew, I've got 80,000 words to work with as well. So I'm gonna be pulling big sections and like moving them around and making them better and adding new words too and taking words out. So the word count isn't going to be as straightforward as being like, I'm going to write 2,000 words a day. I don't really know how to make goals to motivate myself just yet for the second draft, because last week it went really well. I think I was just excited to get back into it, but today's going fine as well. But yesterday, I struggled. I think it was because I had finished my first chapter the week before, so it was like, okay, now on to the next plot beat. I need to start afresh again. It's like that constant, just like once you finish something, you just have to start again at the beginning and do another process of like, it's repetitive. But I am loving it so much. But yeah, yesterday I was bad and I had my phone by my side and was just kind of like, I was just picking up my phone and scrolling, and then my mind was going bad, because when I scroll too much, it like has a real physical effect on me. And mental effect. It's just, I'm fine with it just a little bit, but it really messes with me. I deleted Instagram for months last year because it just like took me to such a bad place. But I got it back recently, so I'm trying to be really like aware of how much time I'm on it and not to get sucked into the constant scrolling. I got TikTok recently as well because I wanted to start making more short videos, which I'm posting to YouTube as well, but I wanted to kind of go over to TikTok because obviously there's such a big book community over there, so, and writing community actually, so I thought it would be good to like see what's going on and try and make some friends. And yeah, I've got the ultimate goal of being published, so I want to try and like, whilst I'm in the writing stage, make some connections with people and also just like show people what I'm doing, and maybe someone will be interested in reading what I'm writing. And that would be amazing if one person that I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? Because friends and family are always going to be so supportive, but I think it would be amazing if there was one person that I didn't know who would be like, I would read that. I want to read what she's writing. I think that would be really cool. So that is what I'm doing. Right, I've got to stop talking now and I should probably do some more writing. It is about 4:15 now, and I've come to a bit of a block with what I was writing. I think I pretty much like have come to a natural end to the second chapter, but it's just like not necessarily a very strong end either just now. I've written 2,207 words today, so I'm pretty pleased about that as well, considering I wasn't fully back in the zone as I was last week. Like, yeah, I was still getting like distracted at points today and like giving into it, which isn't good. I was like looking up armchairs on Facebook Marketplace because I've started writing in spare room because we got some new bookshelves from IKEA, and we're making it a kind of like little library nook, but we want to get a nice armchair and like a floor lamp as well for in here so that I can write on the chair and everything. But I'm just writing in the spare room bed now, just now. Yeah, so today was definitely better than yesterday, but I still think I can do better at being focused, so I think tomorrow I might actually just go for an extreme, and when I'm not filming clips for this video, I'll put my phone into the other room and just like put it on charge or whatever away from me, and I'll also turn the internet off on my laptop so that whenever I give into the temptation of going online, I'll click on it and it'll be like, you're not connected, and it'll be a reminder to me to stop, that I'm being bad, to get back into the zone. But I think tomorrow, I think I'm gonna go back to the start of this chapter, go through it, work on it a bit more, figure out a stronger ending to it, and then I don't know how long that'll take me, but if that gets done I can go on to the next chapter. I kind of decided to go through the second draft chronologically so I can iron out plotline that I've already done, but also it's missing a big chunk of plotline, which is like basically this big main mystery that's part of it. But because I'm writing a romance, and like I'm very into the romance aspect of it and like the character drives and everything, I've put the plot on the back burner, but I still want the plot to be really interesting too, obviously, and I want the mystery to be, it doesn't have to be mind-blowing, I'm not worried about that, but I don't want the mystery to be like too silly. So yeah, I'm gonna read my book just now. I'm reading The Dance Tree by Karen Millwood Hargrave right now, and it is so flipping good. I'm very nearly finished, so I'm hoping that I'll finish that off before 5. Then me and Alex will have dinner and hang out tonight. And I'll probably start a much lighter book because this book was quite heavy. So I think I need a little like palette cleanser, and then I'm going into the second book in the Broken Earth trilogy, which I'm buzzing for. I cannot wait. But I don't want to jump into that straight away because my mind is still reeling from this book a bit. Okay, right, cue the next clip of me writing. I apologise for the camera quality. The lighting in the kitchen isn't the best, but I've just gotten back from giving Sienna a walk, and I'm now going to prep dinner for me and Alex. We're having a lasagna tonight. So I thought I would use the time of me cooking to tell you what I got done today. It wasn't an easy day. Again, I have so far got about 800 more words done. I'm still on chapter 2. And I think after I've gotten this lasagna prepped, I'm actually going to go back and do some more, try and get some more done, because I'd love to move on to chapter 3 tomorrow if possible and not linger too long on this chapter. I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, to be honest with you. I woke up at like 7:30 to feed Sienna and then just went back to bed. Alex doesn't get up for work until 8:30 really, because he works most days from home, so he just has to wake up and jump onto the computer in the next room. And I just went back to bed until his alarm went off, and then he got up for work and I didn't. I'm usually so good at just getting up when Sienna wants her food, and then I'll usually go and read for a half hour or so, and then start writing or prepping a video or whatever it is I need to get done that day. But today it just was not happening. That being said, only got 800 words done so far, but I am quite pleased with what I have written. It needs revised definitely, because I did just like do like a kind of mind splurge of thoughts. What I did was quite fun. Basically, the story I'm writing is set in a kind of reimagined Scotland where remnants of magic from the past still exist. People can't really use magic, but it kind of appears here and there in the world still. So it was definitely a thing, like the gods definitely existed, and mythical creatures definitely existed and stuff. And the story takes place in, well, it starts in Edinburgh in like the early 1900s at the National Museum, but because magic is part of this world, the museum like includes magical artifacts and history in its exhibits and stuff, and therefore hires curators and archaeologists and things like that specialising in magic stuff, and that is the two main love interests work as curators for the magical side of the museum. And today I started off by going on to the National Museum Scotland's website and was looking at like all the different curators that work there and what they specialise in, and I was trying to think like, okay, so what would the counterparts be for these people within like the magical departments, and like what could be some interesting things that like they're specialising in and stuff. Like, so for example, I feel like witch trials in Scotland would be a big deal, Edinburgh witches especially, so someone could like have an interest in that and stuff. And I kind of figured out what I wanted my main character to specialise in. I think I know what I want, sorry, I don't know why I'm waving a knife at you. I think I know what I want the main love interest, the guy, to specialise in too, but I've not kind of thought about that too much yet. But he's definitely going to be more involved in archaeology than her. I won't say too much because I don't want to like talk too in depth about the plot. One, because things may change, and two, because I don't want to give it away. Don't want to give it away to any of the few people who may read it in the future. But I'm having so much fun still. It was just like today I just woke up on the wrong side of bed and was having a bit of a struggle. I actually saw a TikTok the other day. I can't remember the name of the woman, unfortunately. I'll try and find out and I'll maybe link her TikTok below. I mean, she came up on my For You page, so I think she's probably pretty popular. But she was previously worked as a publisher and is now an author, I'm pretty sure, or is writing a book or whatever. And anyway, she was just like giving insights into what publishers look for and like first chapters and stuff. She's really, really helpful. And this particular TikTok, she was like, these are the things you should include at the beginning of your story before like the catalyst happens or like the main adventure happens. The bit I focused on her saying was you need to make sure that you show your main character at work, at home, and what was the other one? What was the other one? There was a third one and I can't remember. But she was like basically saying it can be one or more scenes, but you have to like show your character in these 3 different aspects of their life so that the reader is getting this fuller, broader scope of who this person is and how they interact with the world and what their motivations are and everything. And it was so helpful because the bit that I wrote today, or one of the bits that I wrote today, was directly inspired by that, because I realised that like, yes, I've said that she works at the museum, but like I've not actually put any detail or thought into what her specialities are and stuff like that, and that is quite important to the plot. So I was like, right, I need to sit down and figure that out. So I did, and it was fun researching that. Like, it was fun being able to go onto the National Museum site and, like, even though magic doesn't exist in our world, using that as a tool to, like, get my brain thinking of, like, what kind of exhibits and stuff could be going on in the museum. And I'm very, very lucky because one of my close friends did a master's in exactly the type of thing I'm writing about, like archiving and curating, stuff like that. So at some point she is going to probably get a long voice note from me with a bunch of questions and clarifications, and me being like, does this make sense, or is this dumb, and what happens, and blah 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 blah. I'm sure she won't mind because she is a very lovely person, and I'm saying this because she may be watching this right now. I was thinking more last night about how I was gonna, like, approach hitting goals each day for how much I'm writing and everything, and I think I quite like the idea of working on a chapter and then giving myself the following day to look over it. I'll maybe need less than that, like, depending on how happy I am with it, but after that day, leaving it and moving on to the next chapter I have to write, because I don't want to fall into the trap that I did of the last book that I tried to write, where I was just lingering so much on sections I'd already wrote and reworking instead of just, like, moving on to the next thing and making sure I'm getting as much done as possible and just continuing on and knowing that I can come back at the end to go back over stuff, and at that point it'll be better because I'll have a clearer idea of where the story's going and everything. So that is my plan, because I'm just such a reviser, and the fact that I'm starting to show people what I'm writing now, I just cannot. I, like, need to rework it to the standard that I feel not embarrassed about showing people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all well and good me doing word spews onto the page and getting the words down and getting my thoughts on paper and writing whatever I feel in that moment, but I could never show anyone that raw copy. I just need to go over it and finesse it to a standard that I think is acceptable for someone to read. But it's gonna have to go through another round of drafting even after all of that, when obviously, like, I get feedback from people I trust and they tell me, like, what's not working and stuff I'll need to revise, and also just stuff I'm sending my friends and family just now is okay for them to read, but I still wouldn't let an agent or a publisher read what I've written. Definitely it still has a ways to go, but I am happy with it, and I'm so happy with where it's going, and, like, oh, that feeling I get when I have a kind of eureka moment where I suddenly think of an idea that can, like, make a scene go from quite dull to quite exciting. It can be something as simple as just the characters talking about a mundane thing, but, like, having banter and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my plan. I'm gonna finish dinner, I'm gonna write a bit more. I might even write a bit further into the evening before The Traitors comes on, because it's Wednesday and The Traitors is back, and it's the way they left off last week. I have a feeling this episode is going to be very exciting. If any of you are watching, I think Paul is digging himself into a hole that he is not going to escape from, which is such a shame because he was such a good traitor at the start, but I think he just he got way too cocky, basically. I really like Harry as a traitor. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to stop because the onions are making me cry. Right. I can't do this. Oh. just coming up to about 4:30 and today has gone so much better than the previous days this week. Thank God. I am still on chapter 2, but I'm pretty much nearly done. I think I'm gonna work for another hour or so on this, but by that time I'll want to have dinner and everything, so I want to just give a quick update now. I'll finish the chapter tonight and then I think I'll go over it a wee bit tomorrow, but I also want to edit this video tomorrow, so tomorrow will be a relatively slow going day writing wise, so I think this is going to be the end of the writing vlog here. I wanted to say something. So last night I was on, I don't know what, I think I saw it as a YouTube short. It was this woman who was painting on this big canvas with like various tools. She was using a mop at one point to slap the paint on, and she was basically using just everyday objects to paint all these colourful colours onto this big canvas, and it looked like a hot mess. It was like, I think the video was like maybe a minute and a half long, and like for the majority of the video I was just watching like, what is she doing? What is she trying to make right now? What's that supposed to be? It didn't look like anything, and then I was like, is this just one of those like pieces of art where it's like really abstract and I just don't understand? But then before my very eyes it became this beautiful portrait of a lion's face, and it had different animals going on around it as well, like within the lion's mane and stuff like that. And it was just like, I've seen things like that before, but I just had this like epiphany moment last night watching it, because obviously I've been thinking about writing a lot and also just like how I'm writing and what my process should be going forward and stuff. So it's just like really fresh in my mind, but I just made this link between watching this portrait be made from absolute nothing and kind of look like really awful, and then turns into something so incredibly complex and detailed and beautiful. And I was just thinking about how that is, I mean, it's probably every form of artwork really, but specifically that is how writing is as well. Like, and it was just so reassuring to me watching this woman paint this thing. Why are you whining at me? Like, it was just a bit of a moment where I was like, okay, I don't have a book yet, but I'm only in the early stages still, where it still looks like a mess, and when I show it to people they'll be like, what is it meant to be and why does it look like that? But I just need to trust the process, and it will be a beautiful piece of art at the end of it, hopefully. It was quite nice to like have that moment via social media. This isn't a revolutionary thought, you know, but like sometimes simple things like that just like hit you in one moment and it really helps. And considering like last year I had just like, social media just became so like grim for me. It was nice now that I've kind of gotten Instagram back and I've gotten TikTok back, and I'm trying to like interact with these apps in a more healthy way. It was really nice to have like a really positive experience with it, and see something that actually really helped me view what I'm doing right now, instead of making me feel rubbish about the fact that like I'm trying to do something that loads of people want to do and end up not being able to, and trying to do this thing that like has a very high chance of failure as well. But right now, how the beginning of 2024 has been so far has been just I feel so positive about it all, and I know that it's not always going to be the case of that. Like, this isn't going to be easy going the whole way, but it's nice that I'm finally feeling that like this isn't just something I'm trying to do, but it's something that I'm actually doing. I don't know if any of that made sense. That's just my my rambling thoughts that one YouTube short instilled in me. I don't know if I should read a bit of this. Maybe I'll read a bit from my first chapter, like a paragraph. Okay, I'll read this bit. Este's hands began to shake as blood rushed to her cheeks. She could hear their words ringing in her ears, undercut by the thrumming of her pulse at her neck and wrists and the pounding of her heart against her ribs. She no longer felt like a child playing dress up. She felt naked, exposed, and there it was, just as she had expected. Her sanctuary was crumbling around her as these men who viewed her as lesser than stared at her, and she stared back with nothing to say, completely alone, until she wasn't. I don't know if I'll include that in the video. Yeah, I don't know. I hope this vlog has been interesting. I don't know how I feel about doing them because I don't know how interesting they are really. I wanted to give it a go because like I said previously, I want to get more confident about sharing what I'm doing writing wise, so that like I'm instilling like more of a positive mindset into myself about it all, instead of putting myself down all the time. But that being said, I don't know how interesting the content is because I don't want to overshare too much about what I'm writing because I don't want to give away like plot details and stuff like that. I also have never done this before, so it's not like I can give advice on my process because I don't have a process. I'm just a newborn writer trying to make her way in the world. I hope if anything this has just been quite a cozy, easygoing vlog video that you've just been able to watch and have found relaxing. That's the kind of content I like to watch on YouTube. I really like just watching people go about their lives in really kind of like slow and mindful slice of life ways and just bring a bit of peace into the world. So I hope that it's maybe done that. I hope that was interesting too. But anyway, I'm gonna get back, write a bit more, but I'm gonna sign off from this video and edit it tomorrow, and you'll be seeing it on Sunday. And I hope that you are all doing really well and that you have an amazing upcoming week. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!